Hello and welcome to another installment of the Packets Educational Video Series. Today we're going to continue on our 5 essential strokes by looking at the 4th stroke, which is the Hugadit. So far we have hit the first 3, which was fingers. We also looked at the tut-doobadoo. And last time we looked at the Hugadit. So I would recommend that if you haven't seen any of those videos, go ahead and pause this one, jump back, watch those, and then we'll catch up to this one once you've done that. All right, so the Hugadit is a 3-hit stroke that basically works off what we call a natural decay. So the Hugadit is a legato stroke, so there's no hard consonant on the first word. Hugadit was a hard consonant, so it had a staccato. Hugadit is more of a softer syllable, and so the word kind of runs together just like the stroke. So now, instead of starting with a staccato on the first hit, I now have a rebound stroke or a legato. And then what happens is I play 2 more hits, and any decay that happens is just a natural decay from the playing of the stroke. So I'm not trying to play 3 hits all the same height. I'm combining them into more of a single motion and allowing the rebound and the natural decay to be there. And so what I'm using is my wrist initiates the stroke for the first legato, and then my wrist and fingers support for the next 2. So I have a wrist start and then a natural decay with finger support. I want it to sound as even as possible without forcing myself to play 3 of the exact same height hits, because I want it to be a flowing stroke. So instead of 3 hits, I want it to feel like 1 hit. But I still want to get an even a sound as possible. So Hugadit, 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 Hugadit. That's the sound. And in the Hugadit, one thing you can do is start up, end up, and that way it allows me to continue to remind myself that this is a relaxed, even, legato feeling stroke. And so by always being up, I'm not allowing any staccato to come into the stroke, and that keeps me thinking legato, rebound, relaxed, flow the whole time. When you do have to staccato to switch hands, you just can't allow the sound to change. So we don't want to lose the sound of the last Hugadit when I'm switching hands. All right, so the Hugadit. Some applications to the Hugadit would be, number 1, the flam tap. So if I took flam taps and then I split them with left hand on the soft part of the pad, then I take away the hand, and there's my Hugadit. So the Hugadit is the flam tap split into 2. So right hand of a flam tap, left hand of the flam tap, double stop, split it. And that's where the Hugadit comes from. It's born out of the flam tap. I can take my Hugadit exercise that I did earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can remove the last 16th note of each measure. So that makes it a 15-16 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And now what I'm trying to do is, when I transition from right hand Hugadit to left hand or left to right, I'm making sure that that transition is smooth. I don't lose any of the rhythm or the tempo or the flow of the stroke. Because sometimes we may have this. where we know we're about to go into the other hand, and so the stroke dissolves or changes. So I want to make sure all 4 Hugadits are the exact same, even though I'm doing a direct transition. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm connecting them to be as smooth a transition as possible. Okay, another thing about the Hugadit we can do in an exercise like that is I can eliminate how many counts per measure. So if I'm doing a 15/16, well then I can eliminate 4/16 notes and go to a 11/16. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I go from a 15/16 to an 11/16. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then I can go from 11/16 to 7/16. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I can go to 3/16. 1, 1, 1, 1, etc. So let's try it. 4s. Cut it down. Cut it down. Cut it down. And so my goal in that is to make every Hugadit sound the exact same, regardless of the time signature I am, or when I'm switching, or if I'm doing straight switching, or it doesn't matter. Every Hugadit's the exact same sound and approach. Okay, another thing for the Hugadit you could do is something like a mixed up sticking pattern, where if I'm doing a 3 on one hand and then a 2 on the other, like an egg beater, then the Hugadit and the double are what I'm playing. Okay. Another rudiment where I would want the Hugadit would be just 3s, or a French roll, or whatever you want to call it, where I'm just alternating 3s for my roll. So a great way to work on that is to set up an 8th note skeleton. 2, 3, 1, 2, and I'm plugging in a Hugadit and moving it around each 8th note. And I can keep that going by adding in on the downbeat of 1, upbeat of 1, 2, 3, and work my way through, or I can do all downbeats. Then go to all upbeats. And then alternate. One more thing you can do just to build up your chops with it is to add more hits onto the Hugadit. So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, I can keep it in 4/4 and play 4 hits on the last. And so by that, I'm expanding the amount of hits I have. That just gives me more chops, and then when I go back to 3, it makes it easier. So, Hugadit. Grab your sticks, grab your pad, get to practicing on that one.